The cameras flashed, the crowd froze, and just like that, Hollywood had a new obsession.
Right, but what happens when the cameras go away? Like, when the person everyone is obsessing over just totally shuts down?
Well, that is exactly what we are getting into today. Welcome to our deep dive on Starscope Report.
Join Jordan and Jamie as they uncover Hollywood drama, music industry shakeups, and viral influencer scandals.
From red carpet surprises to social media controversies, we dive deep into the stories behind the fame.
And today we are tackling a massive headline. Angelina Jolie makes a rare confession about life after Brad Pitt.
It is a stunning story, honestly. I mean, we are pulling from a stack of recent entertainment news reports today. We've got celebrity interviews from Yahoo, the Wall Street Journal, Vogue, plus some pretty heavy legal updates.
Because the mission of this deep dive is to unpack this crazy decade of solitude she just admitted to. Like, she has completely stepped away from romance.
Right, and we're going to explore how a brand new movie role sparked this huge personal awakening for her. We'll also look at the stark contrast with her ex-husband Brad Pitt's current life.
Oh, totally. And we have to talk about her impending escape from Hollywood in 2026.
Yes, that is a huge part of this.
Yeah.
But before we get too deep, if you are loving these Hollywood twists, make sure you are subscribed. We've got even crazier stories ahead, so hit that subscribe button.
Definitely. And, you know, while this is a story about Hollywood royalty, at its core, this is the story for you.
It really is. It's this deeply relatable look at the tension between being a devoted parent or a caregiver and, well, remembering to actually be an individual.
It is so hard to balance that. So let's get right into it. The big confession.
Right. So Angelina Jolie is now 51 years old, and she recently dropped this massive bombshell. Following her 2016 split from Brad Pitt, she completely sidelined her romantic life.
Entirely.
Yep.
She noted that she hasn't dated or been with anyone in 10 years.
A full decade. I mean, she referred to it as having a zero social life policy.
Which is wild for someone who is arguably one of the most famous, desirable women on the planet, you know?
Totally wild.
Yeah.
But she said she just shut that part of herself off to focus entirely on her kids.
Right. She basically built a fortress, and psychologically that makes perfect sense. When you go through a highly publicized trauma, like an acrimonious divorce playing out in TMZ and Variety, you isolate.
You have to, right, to protect the kids.
Exactly. If you don't let anyone in, no one can destabilize the environment. But, and this is the fascinating part, the fortress was finally breached.
Yeah, and not by a real person. It was breached by a fictional character she was hired to play.
I love this part of the story. So tell them about the catalyst.
So she stars in this new movie called Couture. She plays Maxine Walker, an American director who gets a devastating breast cancer diagnosis right during Paris Fashion Week.
Wow.
Yeah. But while she is navigating this terrifying illness, Maxine actually finds love with a cinematographer named Anton, who is played by Louis Garrel.
The emotional weight of that is just staggering. Especially when you look at Jolie's own life. I mean, her own mother died of breast and ovarian cancer in 2007.
Exactly. She is quite literally stepping into the shoes of a woman facing the exact illness that tore her own family apart.
But the character does something Jolie hasn't done in real life. Maxine allows herself to be loved in the middle of all that brokenness.
And Jolie said in her Yahoo interview that this was a massive wake-up call for her. She realized she had totally surgically separated motherhood and womanhood in her own life.
It is like method acting in reverse.
Wait, what do you mean by that?
Well, usually an actor disappears into a role, right? Yeah. But here, the role suddenly wakes the actor up to what is missing in their actual life.
Oh, that is such a good way to put it. But isn't it kind of ironic, like Hollywood and the media are what isolated her in the first place? Is it possible that a movie set was the exact tool she needed to process that trauma?
Actually, yes. From a psychological standpoint, stepping into a fictional character's shoes lets you bypass your own defense mechanisms.
Right, because she doesn't have to be strong Angelina Jolie.
Exactly. On set, as Maxine, she is allowed to be fragile and sick and terrified. The movie set is a highly controlled environment, unlike the paparazzi, so it's safe. It allowed her to safely process grief and rediscover her own needs.
That is just incredible. But, you know, she doesn't live on a movie set. She has to take this huge emotional awakening home to her kids.
And that dynamic is shifting rapidly.
It really is. I mean, her 6 kids are the center of her world. She actually calls them her closest friends.
You've got Maddox, who is 24, Pax is 22, Zahara is 21, Shiloh is 20, and the twins, Knox and Vivian, are 17.
And they are really coming into their own right now. Zahara just gave this beautiful, touching mother-daughter speech at a foundation in Atlanta.
Oh, I saw that. And Knox recently debuted this bright orange hair and fought in a Muay Thai match on the exact same day as his high school graduation.
Yeah, and Vivienne was spotted living a totally normal teen life, grabbing a smoothie at Erewhon in L.A. They are forging their own identities.
And we should mention, some of them are making major legal moves, too. Maddox and Zahara have actively dropped Pitt from their last names.
Right, Zahara actually
Yeah.
goes by Zahara Marley Jolie now.
Yeah.
Though reportedly, Pax still maintains some relationship with Brad's side of the family, according to sources.
It is a complex family dynamic, but the biggest twist in all of this, the kids are now playing matchmaker.
I know, isn't that fascinating? The very kids she put her romantic life on hold for are the ones pushing her back into the dating pool.
Yeah, multiple sources say they want her to move on. Now, they hold incredibly high standards for any potential suitor, obviously.
Oh, I would hope so. But do you think they are trying to absolve themselves of the guilt of being her sole focus? Like giving her permission to be more than just mom?
100%. We see this in family psychology all the time. It is a form of anticipatory empty nest syndrome.
Anticipatory empty nest.
Yeah. The kids want to spread their wings, but they feel immense guilt leaving their mom alone in this fortress she built for them. By pushing her to date, they are giving her a psychological hall pass so they can leave without worrying about her.
Wow, that makes so much sense. Now, of course, the rumor mill has been working overtime trying to guess who she might date.
Oh, naturally.
They've linked her to The Weeknd, Chris Rock, the British rapper Akala, and even her Couture co-star Louis Garrel.
But she has completely debunked all of that. She
Yeah.
maintains that zero social life policy.
Right, and to understand why she is so hesitant to jump back in, even with her kid's blessing, we have to look at the toll the split actually took on her.
And we will get into all of those shocking details, plus the stark contrast with Brad Pitt's life right now, in just a second. You do not want to miss this next part.
So stay tuned and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss what's coming next.
All right, let's talk about the divorce. This was an exhausting 8-year legal marathon.
8 years. It finally settled in December 2024. And Jolie's been very candid about this. She told the Wall Street Journal that the process left her feeling extremely exhausted.
She even said life has broken me a little bit.
Yeah, that quote hit hard. She admitted she finds it really hard to trust men now.
Which is completely understandable. I mean, even though the divorce is finalized, tensions are still high.
Very high. Pitt's camp has gone on record accusing Jolie of one-sided attacks, while she maintains she was just protecting her family.
And they are still entangled in that massive lawsuit involving the Stoli Vodka Company over their French winery.
Right, the winery dispute, it just keeps the wound open. But what I find so crazy is how differently the two of them have handled their lives post-split.
The contrast is jarring.
It really is. I mean, you have Jolie, who is 51, completely isolated romantically for a decade, and then you have 62-year-old Brad Pitt.
Who has been publicly dating Inza Ramon since 2022.
Exactly. And she is 26 years his junior. There were even rumors of wedding bells in the entertainment press.
It is a wildly different trajectory.
I look at it like two people walking away from the exact same car crash.
Okay, tell me more about that.
Well, one person immediately looks for a new co-pilot to keep driving, right? They need that distraction. But the other person builds a fortress and absolutely refuses to get behind the wheel for a decade.
That is a perfect analogy. Psychologically, some people use new relationships to heal. They need the validation and the external anchor to rebuild their self-esteem.
And the other person?
The other person requires intense, isolated restoration. When you feel internally shattered, you don't invite strangers into the wreckage. You isolate and repair until you can trust again.
Until you're strong enough. But later in the episode, we'll talk about the shocking twist nobody saw coming regarding where she is heading next.
Yes, the 2026 Exodus. This is huge.
It is the ultimate escape plan. So the twins, Knox and Vivienne, turn 18 in July 2026.
And that date is critical.
Because of custody geography, Jolie has been legally anchored to Los Angeles for years. But she has stated clearly that as soon as they are of legal age, she is leaving.
She is not wasting any time either. She already put her LA home on the market for nearly $30 million.
$30 million, yeah. She plans to spend her time in Cambodia and visiting family globally. She actually noted that the humanity she found across the world just isn't what she grew up with in Hollywood.
Which is so telling. And you can connect this physical move directly to her emotional state.
Right. She said listening to her older daughters talk to her reminded her of what she lost. She said she needs to, quote, live again and be free again.
But I have to ask, and I want to push back on this a little bit.
Go for it.
She wants privacy and peace, but she is Angelina Jolie. Does moving to Cambodia actually solve internal brokenness, or is it just the geographical cure? Like, is the destination less important than just the act of leaving?
That is such a good question. I think the destination is secondary. Regaining physical autonomy, no longer being legally required to stay in one zip code that triggers a massive psychological relief.
Right, the invisible legal fences are coming down.
Exactly. Her fighting spirit, which she is so famous for, is finally allowed to return because she has her agency back.
It is incredible to see this evolution.
It really brings this whole deep dive full circle. We've watched her go from a global icon to a fiercely protective, isolated mother to a woman standing on the edge of this massive emotional and geographical rebirth in 2026.
It proves that healing isn't linear. Sometimes it takes a full decade in the decompression chamber.
And that brings us right back to you listening to this today. Whether you are a megastar dealing with the paparazzi or just an everyday person, navigating the transition from focusing entirely on others to reclaiming your own identity is universally challenging.
It is so universally relatable.
So I want to leave you with a provocative thought to mull over today. Think about your own life. What part of yourself, maybe a passion, a personality trait, or a desire, have you put on a shelf for years just to take care of the people around you?
That is a tough question.
It is. And more importantly, what specific catalyst would it take for you to finally feel ready to reach up and take it back down?
Something to really think about.
Definitely. Well, you've been listening to Starscope Report, where Jordan and Jamie uncover the stories shaping Hollywood, music, and pop culture.
Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.